And action if you want to see miracles today. Welcome to This Is Real.
Miracles.
Leslie McCarter, my assistant, and my new co-host, Deva Moses.
We are so excited to have a friend and special guest on our show today. Her name is Deva Moses. I mean, mind blown. Deva, how do we start this?
So I lived here in Weirs Valley area for probably 16 years now. And me and my husband, we are getting ready to celebrate our 20th wedding anniversary in October. And
which is crazy because she's about to be 40.
Yes, I'm getting ready to turn 40. And I'm going to rock it.
Yes, she is. She's beautiful. And me and Waylon are about to celebrate our 20-year anniversary in November. So it's funny because we're kind of,
same age, same time of marriage.
Yep.
And they haven't run off. So
we haven't run them off yet, right?
So I've got 2 girls. I've got 10-year-old Eden and 7-year-old Tabby. And just precious little girls. And I've got 2 businesses. So I've got a cabin rental company named Bear Tootin' Cabin Rentals.
Bear Tootin'.
And it's a bear farting.
It's bear holding a tree and it has a little toot.
Let's put up that logo of Bear Tootin' Cabins.
Guys, if you're coming to Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge area, use them.
And my whole family works for me. So if you talk to the reservation, they're probably related to me. Talk to the maintenance guy, they're probably related to me somehow.
Cool.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
And they're amazing. We have like 107 properties. Started that 10 years ago. And really just didn't know what I was doing and just started with $50. And then as you just grow, you get employees and then you
YouTube a lot of things and you learn.
YouTube a lot of stuff. Yeah. Exactly. YouTube's amazing.
Now, do you have a college degree? Did you go to?
No? Barely passed high school. Go.
True that, me too. I do have a college degree.
Go work,
but I cheated.
And that's your college. Get some experience. Some hard work. We'll teach you everything. And
now, we're not bashing college. No, we're not. We're not. For those of you out there that...
If I'm going to have a surgery, I want that guy to go to college for like 30 years.
True that.
So my doctor needs to go to college.
Right, absolutely.
But just so started that and then just kind of built stuff as I got money. And that business just grew. So I started $50 and then now it's worth like, I don't know, maybe like $6 million now.
Sweet.
So it's pretty good. And then 2 years ago, we started a printing company. And my husband, he always likes wearing Christian T-shirts. But I'm like, we can't spend $50,000 for you to make your own shirts. Like you got to make some money off.
I need you to, sell something.
Exactly.
Expensive hobby.
Exactly. One expensive hobby. And so I just started kind of looking into it. And the equipment we were looking into, no one else had it. And so the 2 things to be a good entrepreneur is YouTube. YouTube everything and know your competition. Spy on them like crazy. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So of course,
and I mean that's one thing Waylon and I learned in the gym business is it's okay to look at what other people that do and how they're successful and learn from them. That doesn't mean you can still be your own thing, but learn from them. So I mean, YouTube is
and learn from people's mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's some, and you're going to make your own mistakes.
Sure.
Yeah. And the big test when you are starting a business is make a mistake, but don't give up. Go start right away at another one. Start right away at another one. Half of them are only going to be good, but it's the ones that quit after your first, thing. And I have 2 very successful companies, but I had probably 4 before that that were not successful companies. But you learn like, oh, this one didn't work out because I didn't know about this license or I didn't know how to get this. So I didn't realize that I had $80,000 I had to come up with, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you just cannot give up.
Right.
So
you've owned 2 businesses.
Own 2 businesses, have a great family, have great employees and everything. And God has really blessed me. But when you look at how I started, you would never think it was like the same person could even exist with that story. And so that's kind of like where I am now, my present time, getting ready to turn 40. And so half my life was one way and half my life was, the life I just explained right now. But how I started was in San Diego, California. So usually when you are, born and stuff, you have like a birth certificate.
Usually when you're born, you kind of get a birth certificate.
You do, and you have kind of, let's say, hospital records and things like that. And, your parents say, oh, basic you weighed stuff. This much. And, your dad passed out or whatever happened during the time or he was grossed out, whatever the story is. So mine came with, you can't see it. It's about 38 years old. This piece of paper, it's been inked on and smeared and all that stuff. So mine came with this piece of paper and police records is how I know where I came from. And according to those, and what I've been told, is that I was born to a lady, and she was 27 years old, named Gail, and she was a prostitute. So she was a prostitute in
San Diego?
San Diego,
Okay.
California. And she lived in a prostitution house with other people, and there was a madam and things like that. And at the time, if a woman would get pregnant or a girl would get pregnant, you had two options. You would have an abortion, so you can keep working, or you would have the baby, and then they would keep the baby and use the baby to make money off the baby.
Like someone looking to adopt?
No.
Or someone into
No, not adoption. So
sex traffic stuff?
Yeah.
Yep. So instead of being aborted, she had me. So she would sell me to men, or she would sell me to drugs, or I was sold to
I
a
told
drug
myself
dealer.
I wasn't gonna cry. I've heard this like so many times.
Yeah.
But,
So
it's
like
just
when you were born,
overwhelming.
your
Like-
mom was like, "Hey, I'm going to make some money off of this baby."
Yes.
And so did she just like
Or
sell
pay
you
her
one
debts.
time, or did she like kind of
No, a
pimp you
lot.
out?
I mean, and
oh
like
my
if she,
God.
so I was sold to a
I
drug
know.
dealer for drugs. So he had me for a while, and then what they do is, or he was a drug dealer, so he was a cocaine drug dealer. So what he would do is he would take cocaine and baby powder, and he would cut it up and do like that. So since I was born, my mom wasn't just a prostitute; she was born, or she did heroin. So she was a heroin
So
addict.
you were addicted to
So
heroin.
I was addicted to heroin when I was born, and the half of my eye cells didn't develop because of the heroin. And then when I was sold to the drug dealer, the other eye cells that I had got damaged because when he would cut it with cocaine and baby powder, it would go up in the air, and then that poof
Yeah.
hurt my eye cells. So I'm kind of nearsighted, farsighted, blindsided, like every kind of sided you can think
Right.
of for
Which I
for
hope you brought your
vision.
glasses. Did you bring your glasses?
I did.
So you're like how old when you're being like pimped out or whatever?
Baby.
Like 6 months old?
Yeah, baby.
When I first heard Deva's story, I was like, okay, they sold the baby, and like I was like, okay, what are why would they sell a baby? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't get it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, why to make money off of like an adoption or something? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like you first thing JP said, and I don't think for me, it's not that I'm naive, but I guess I just want to hope that there is not things going on like this in the world. She was born her mother worked in a whorehouse is what she's saying. I mean, that's what her mom did. She was addicted to heroin, she was addicted to heroin as a baby, and then she was passed around to men as a young child and a baby to make money, to do for sexual pleasures is what we're getting at. So if you're not with us, that's what she's saying, and we don't think that that's capable, that's out there, but it is.
That could even exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's
Yep,
so
exactly.
sick. It's so
It is.
sick. It's such a sick world,
Okay.
but that's crazy. So I
But
just want the
this
audience
is-
to understand that.
And this is like a few things. So this is the thinnest lens that they can make. And so, as you can see,
Yikes.
like I can see tomorrow or even next week. So if there's a shooting, get behind me because these are bulletproof. So these are very,
because of the heroin.
because of the no eye cells developed, and then
And
the
the-
heroin or the cocaine and the heroin, I guess all that kind of stuff. So that's like a big thing. So when people are pregnant, it affects the baby. Like a lot of stuff affects the baby when you're pregnant. So that's my vision here. And I've got contacts in now, and they're the highest ones that they even can invent, but they're only half the vision of what you guys can see.
Right.
So it's 2040 for me right now. It's
Right.
not 2020.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things. The other thing is this little pills here that part of your brain, and they actually didn't find this out until I was older, but part of your brain, it's called the thymoesis, I believe it's called. It's controls your appetite. It shows you're hungry. Like your body tells you you're hungry because your tummy growls and you feel like lightheaded and stuff like that. But it's your brain that makes you want the food. Okay. So it doesn't function for me at all. So I have to take this pill or I don't eat. Like I
So
won't eat
you're
for
saying
3
you
to
don't know
4 or
how
5
it feels
days.
to be hungry?
No, not
Right.
until I take this pill.
But then do you
So-
know how it feels?
Oh yeah. So when I take this pill,
That's what she
3 hours later, you better get on my way in the drive-through because I'm going to run you over. So
Yeah,
So
she
you didn't
so
start
hungry.
taking these till when?
they didn't find this out until I was 20 years old.
20.
So they didn't you think as you grow out older, they thought you had an eating disorder
They always diagnosed me anorexic. And I'm like, I love food. I just don't ever want food. It's almost like when you eat a lot, like you eat the biggest meal of your life, and then someone's like, here, you want this hot dog? You're like, I can't take another bite.
I do love hot dogs.
It's like the same thing.
Wow.
But it's for me all the time.
I do love hot dogs.
And
but yeah, and so still today you take this.
I have to take this. And I think I'm like cured if I eat like for a whole week. I'm like, I'm good. I don't have to take these pills no more. And then I'll stop and it'll be like 3 days and I'll say, oh, I've got such a headache. And I'll be like, when was the last time you eat them? Like 3 days ago?
Yeah.
Like I just forget.
Yeah.
And so this is crazy. I mean, if they
Isn't that what didn't you say that's what a chemo patients take?
Chemo. So chemo patients, when people go on chemo, they lose their appetite. That's why they lose a lot of weight and stuff like that. So they have to take this pill or they'll starve themselves to death too.
So was that from heroin too?
It's from heroin. So that's from the drugs. So
you can't see and you can't eat kind of hungry. Yeah.
Those are two things. So I've got a third one. I'd always been sick when I was younger, but I got a third one. And give me a sentence to say.
The race car goes really fast.
The race car goes really, really fast. Can you hear it?
I mean, are you
my husband.
She's not doing that on purpose. Like
no.
that she has.
I thought you were doing that dude from Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
It is Elmer Fudd. My husband.
Speech impediment.
Yeah, my husband calls me.
You're kidding me.
A hot Elmer Fudd. I'm like, no, those two words don't go together.
Yeah, right.
Like,
dropping
don't say that.
everything.
Yeah.
So you have a speech impediment. Yeah.
I have a speech impediment.
Yeah.
So the throat muscles didn't develop in my throat when I was younger from the drugs too. So I'd eat baby food till I was 7 years old because I couldn't swallow food. It just wasn't working. So let me back up just a little bit because that might help to get to that point.
So what happened when you were a baby? Where did you go?
Then I was sold to the drug dealer, sold out for that, and then I was sold to the madam of the prostitution house. And then when I was about 1.5, they did like an undercover sting on the house because I heard that there was babies being sold. So they did like a big.
And you're how old?
About 1.5, I guess you could say. So they did like a big sting on the prostitution house, and they found me in a box underneath the bed in someone's room. I don't know who I was with at the time. So they found me in a box, and then they took me away. And when they take you away, they just like put you anywhere. So
in foster care.
In foster care,
in the system.
Yeah. So I was put in the system, but then I was put in my first
San Diego,
home
right?
in San Diego. Okay. And it was an old lady. She had about, 14 babies under the age of 2 and like 30 cats. So like the neighbors reported her because, it was just unsanitary, obviously.
Yeah.
And
she was approved
for state, but obviously she was in it for money. Not every foster parent is, but some of them are just in it for a check.
It just
So then when I was taken away from her, I went into police custody because people were trying to steal me back because, I was sold to this person and that person, obviously their money person's gone. So they try to steal you back.
Right.
So then I go in police custody for a little while, and then I got put in my second foster home, and they were amazing. So they were specialized in drug addict babies.
Which was such a blessing.
It is.
And this is the part of your story is huge.
It's really say the word, where.
It's really where? Yeah.
With an R.
Rare.
Thank you.
I get it.
I didn't say it.
Oh, that's so cool.
I didn't say it. So
you are a hot Elmer Fudd.
I was going, where?
No, don't repeat me.
Where?
No, she can't.
No.
So it's very rare
yes.
to find a foster home that specializes in drug addict babies
and know
what you need.
Yeah,
and so,
it is. So like I cried all the time, and it's because of the drugs and withdrawals, and obviously I was 1.5 years old, but you still when I was with the drug dealers, he could have just done anything to me. So there's probably other stuff in my system. And so I would cry all the time, and I just never ate, and I just wouldn't do. And then I ended up staying with them. But when you stay with them, you can't be adopted from people until 5 years later. So because I only had one parent's signature on my birth certificate.
So you see, I didn't know that. You
have to have both.
You have to have both parents' signature on your birth certificate before you can be adopted.
Yeah.
And or 5 years has to go by before it's just like, okay, then.
Exactly. Because someone could adopt you right away or in 2 years, but then the dad could come out of nowhere and be like, hey, you just took my kid and get you back.
Right.
So they have to have a 5-year grace period. And obviously they put ads in papers and say there's a girl born to this woman around this time. But I mean, he was going to be like, yeah, I'm your daddy. I mean, he just paid for a service.
It ain't Annie.
And yeah,
it could have been a lot of men probably. I mean, let's be honest, it could have been so
And my mom, my birth mom, is 5 foot, red hair, blue eyes, and heavy set. So obviously, well, this is my real hair color. It's black. But she was by San Diego, California. That's a shipping dock. Navy docks are there, Navy bases and stuff. So I mean, it could be any dad from any nationality.
All over the world.
Who I look like. So I don't know what race I am.
Right.
And so I don't know that. And then my name, my mom gave to me and my adopted parents kept, which I love. But they think they came from, because like when people are strippers or dancers, they call them like Star, Angel.
Diamond.
Yeah, Diamond, so like that.
Celeste. Okay, that's my name.
Exactly.
But so Deva was the name of, was it
that
not?
they gave me, yeah.
Yeah.
So
You're kidding.
so that's like how my name
But I
came
think
up.
that's
But they
why.
kept it, and I like it.
It's such a, I think it goes with her story.
What's it mean? Do you know the definition?
DEVA is how you spell it.
Don't know. And there's two things that people always ask me: where my name come from and what race am I? And I'm like, don't know that one, but I'll give you a story behind what I know. So hold on for it. And so it was just so after 5 years, nobody comes and says I'm your daddy or nothing like that. And then the second home, they're the ones that ended up adopting me.
So they got to adopt you.
So they got to adopt me.
San Diego still?
In San Diego, and they so it was actually until I went to first grade that they knew I couldn't see. So because when you're a kid, you're not like writing or reading or or anything
Did they get
like
you
that.
like at 1 year old?
They got me when I was almost 2.
2 years old.
Because you were with the lady with all the cats
I was with the cat lady, and then police custody, and then I went to them. So about 2 years old is when I went to them. And
Not an easy run for a 1 year old.
No, I mean...
No, and I don't remember any of this. I just know it from what my parents told me and police reports and stuff like that. And, kind of putting all the pieces together and things. So it wasn't until I was in first grade before they knew that I had an eyesight problem. They knew I just didn't eat. And, I ate baby food. So when I was about 7, the doctors, and I was in and out of hospitals like a lot, just different medical stuff.
Didn't you say you ate baby food till you were 7?
Till I was 7.
Yeah.
So the doctors finally said, if this kid doesn't start eating like food, we're going to put a feeding tube in her and she's going to have it the rest of her life. And my adopted mom, she's like, no, I'm not going to let her. So what she would do to make me like swallow, and I had like, a bad speech problem, way worse than what I do now. You can't tell now because I just don't use words with R's. I've avoided them purposely.
Really?
Yeah, that's why people don't know. And so she would take like food, like mac and cheese, and she'd stick my mouth, and she pushed on my tongue, and I would choke, like gag, because she was gagging me, but I would swallow the food accidentally. So after doing that for like months at a time, I started swallowing food like on my own.
Yeah.
And then
she was that patient.
She was that patient, and she knew what to do.
She almost rehabbed you in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, she really did. And like, I have 2 little girls, but I don't even know if I could do it to my biological girls, like choke them, gag them every day. But because she did that and took her time, I was able to eat regular food. I can't eat like steak to this day, and obviously I still have a speech problem and stuff like that. But she got me way farther than the route I was going.
Right. Yeah.
And it was amazing. But so just different, medical stuff would happen. And then when I started school, my adopted dad at the time, he was in the Navy, so we would move. So we'd go to Chicago for 2 years, and we'd go to Virginia for 2 years, and we'd go here for 2 years, stuff like that. So I'd always change schools. But since my early years, I was always in the hospital. My parents just felt bad for me because they were like, oh, you've been in the hospital for a month, do your homework. So they would just start kind of like doing my homework and my schoolwork for me. Yeah. And then before I knew it, I'd be in school. I was so far behind the other kids, I just would cheat. I'd just get by. And then I'd go to another school, and they didn't realize that I had done that at another school.
Right.
So they just didn't realize that I couldn't. And I only have a 3rd grade reading level to this day. So I
wait.
Can't read.
Let's remember her story. She owns 2 businesses, which is worth probably around $6 million. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It just shows you how good and faithful God is. I mean, and I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it throughout this whole thing because I said it the other day, is like, I'm so thankful that her mother chose life.
Yes.
I'm so thankful. And that's another story because you're a huge advocate for,
for right to life.
For right to life. And, this is, her story is like one of the worst of the worst. Like, people say, they should have just, she should have aborted you. You were probably, from a prostitute, you don't know who your dad is, you're addicted to drugs, and look at the testimony and what God can do. And so that is another story for another day, but carry on. Sorry. I had to just insert that.
Where
were we?
amazing. So
Okay,
I
you
went
can't
to school.
swallow, and you're swallowing now. You're in first grade.
Yeah.
Action.
Yep. Good. So I went through school and just cheated and stuff. And then once you get to
Me
like
too.
dating age, high school, I would just date guys that would do my work for me. So
Right.
that's like how I picked my
See,
boyfriend.
she's very smart.
girl.
So, yeah.
Hashtag Leslie.
So I would just have them do my schoolwork and stuff like that. And then once I got to trade school, I couldn't read words or anything like that, but I could see something be done and I could copy it.
So trade school means what?
Trade school is like if you want to be hairdressing, it's junior and senior year, 11th to 12th
Gotcha.
grade. And so
We called
I
it the
went
Career
to,
Center.
Oh, yeah, Career
back home,
Center,
yeah.
trade school, other names I'm
You're
sure
still
like
in
that.
San Diego in public school?
No, I'm in Ohio.
Because
When
your
I'm in
mom,
11th
your
grade.
folks moved?
They still moved around.
They still moved all around. And then when I was 16, my parents divorced. So I ended up in Ohio when I was in 11th grade. But I went to auto mechanic school. And,
Again. Wait,
yeah.
wait till you.
Listen, I have so
So-
many things that need done.
yeah.
No, wait till listen to this though.
It's been
She
a long
can't
time.
read,
I can't read. So, like, through the school part, I can't read. But then
This is a lot.
1/3 of your grade is based on what you perform. So I could take a whole car apart and put it back together, and it would work. So I passed just by putting cars back together. But then I'd take the test,
can't
and I
find my
couldn't read the
keys.
test.
I
So-
know. I told you that's why we need to have her on the show. This story is amazing. Okay, keep
It
going.
is.
Yes.
And so I just passed with like D minuses through school, and
Okay.
I got through high school, and then once I got through high school, like my counselors, my parents, and stuff, they loved me and they raised me and stuff, but they're like, you can't do anything, you can't read or anything like that. You just need to go in the factories. There's like big Toyota plants, and they make Camry cars, and you do the same thing like every 30 minutes. You just don't do anything else. And I kept telling them my whole life, I know two things. I know I was going to do something important, like a business owner or have employees or make a life for other people. And I knew that there was a God, because you can't go through my story. If you hear it or read it and I lived it, it doesn't make sense that the person could even live through something like that, especially a baby, because they're just defenseless. So that told me that there has to be a God out there that just protected me the whole way. And
Now, I didn't ask you this either, but did any of your family or your foster or your adopted family, did they raise you in church at all? Did you ever go to church and hear about God or Jesus or anything?
They
or?
did a little bit. My dad was in the military, so he'd be gone for like 6 months, 8 months, a year, out on the ship. And it was my mom. So she adopted me, and then she adopted my sister. And she was adopted from Hawaii. The good thing is that I've always known that there was God, and that I was going to do something important. Even though everyone said, nope, you just need to
Nope, you're
going to
work in a factory. You're going to.
That's all you can
That's
do.
your destiny.
No one's ever going to. Yeah, exactly. The rest of my life. And so,
From
and I
the
did see
people, your destiny was given to you from the people who saved your life and loved you.
They
But
did.
they spoke to you as in,
that. They did.
I taught you how to swallow, baby. You graduated high school.
Yeah.
We're going to get you in a factory. But that's it.
Yeah, that's all they saw, because they just saw
The brokenness.
they saw the human in me.
Right.
And but the great thing about the whole story, like then and now, is that I have no anger. I can't hold a grudge to save my life against anybody. I've
just makes you
never
wanna cry.
asked the question why, because I never felt like, why did this happen to me? Who is my dad? I feel like a missing piece of me. I've never felt that, because God was with me the whole time. So, and I thought if I ever asked why, it'd be saying like, God, you made a mistake. You need to give me some more answers. He gave me the answers. I'm alive. He gave me a positive attitude. I'm healthy compared to when I was younger. He put the right people in my life at a certain time. My adoptive parents don't have anything to do with me now, but they were in my life when I needed them.
And they were supposed to be.
They were.
For
They
that
were
season.
very, very supposed to be. But when I came to Christ, it was different. Our relationship was different. So my mom did take me to church, and she did. She kind of went to like feel good churches. They didn't really like give hardcore,
Salvation message,
salvation
yeah.
or nothing like that. So, and that kind of goes perfectly into how I did get saved. And I was a good person. I never said a cuss word. I never did drugs.
I have.
I've never touched a drug, because every single day you open up and
Obviously.
you have to put these babies on to
Yeah.
see. It's
You're
like a reminder, like what drugs do to your body.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
never touched a drug, which is very, that's very hard when I went to public school and you
Right.
have the pressure and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I never did, and I'm totally thankful for that.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of going to just churches and just feeling good and stuff like that, and dating at the time. I was 20 years old, and I had a date with a gentleman, and he stood me up on a date.
So this is how we're going to get into how you met Jerry, who's your husband
Yes.
today. Okay.
Yes.
So yes.
And how I got saved. So
Yes.
it kind of goes together.
So you were supposed to go on a date, and
I
this
was.
dude stood you up.
Stood up on a date, and my mom was doing like a charity thing, like in middle school, and they were raising money, and it was inside, and I was just really mad because she said, "Come over and help me," and I'm like, the last thing you want to be around is a bunch of little, nagging little kids, and
Because you were irritated. You got stuck up.
Yeah.
You got stood up and stuck up.
Let's rub it off on you.
I didn't realize Leslie had that.
Yeah.
It's not even an R word. Stop,
Makes sense.
JP.
God, that's really
She
loud.
copies when she sees stuff.
Please turn
Anyways.
the volume down and divas up. Go.
So I went to this middle school, and I was just really mad and everything, and it had been raining outside. So we were doing some stuff, and this guy just came up to me and he asked me where the bathroom was, and I'm like, yeah, I don't go to the school. I'm just helping my mom. I don't know, and I just
I'm
blew him
20.
off.
I'm not in middle school.
I'm looking cute, and I got stood up, so I was super bad. And my mom grabbed me and she's like, Deva, you were being super mean to him. He's just trying to be nice and know where the bathroom is. And she's like, go over there and talk to him. I'm like, yeah, okay. So I went over there and talked to him, and he was, kind of flirting with me and stuff like that. And I told him, yeah, I got stood up on a date and stuff. He's like, oh, well, let me buy you dinner since you didn't get your dinner. I'm like, yes, I would take the free meal.
Yeah, take the free
Yes.
meal. I got
Wow.
stood up. Yeah.
Yes.
Aggressive.
Exactly.
Aggressive. Whoops,
He
sorry,
is.
got my-
And but he was with a friend, so I didn't feel scared, and I knew his friend. Actually, I knew who he was, and so I'm like, yeah, I know who he is and stuff. And I don't think I was gonna be like kidnapped or nothing like
Yeah.
that. And so we went out, and he picked like the fanciest restaurant in Lexington, Kentucky to like show off. So we went there, and we had dinner, and he had actually come inside. They weren't supposed to be there, but it had rained outside, and they were riding motorcycles.
But that's why he came into the
They
school
came
to get out of the
inside into
rain.
school to get out of the rain. So that's how.
Did you ride the motorcycle on the date?
I did, but I'll let you know about
Oh, yeah.
that. And so we
Wow.
went back. So we ate dinner, and I got my free meals. I was happy about that. And we came back, and it stopped raining. He said, "Oh, have you been on a motorcycle?" I'm like, "No," and I'm like,
Oh,
they want
I
to be
feel like
like,
I'm on
I don't
Grease.
remember. Yeah, and
Sandy.
so then. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it, and I have no fear. I'm not scared of anything. Spiders, tides, nothing. I'm good to go. And so I wasn't scared of nothing. I've never been on one. But I'll tell you what, I don't know what they're called. Crotch rockets? Is that like a bad word to say?
No, it's called. I mean, they're called
Crotch
crotch
rocket.
rocket
they
is
call
not
it.
a
It's
bad
like the
word, but I
speed
understand when you
motorcycles.
say it,
Okay.
because I'm always like, that's why I feel about Fuddruckers, the restaurant.
Yes,
I
when you
always
say
am
you're like
scared.
Fuddruckers, you're like, did I just
Did I
cuss?
just say a bad
Yeah.
Oh,
word?
I said it bad one time. I was like, that is not how you say it.
So, crotch rocket.
Yes.
So that's what he has. And so I get on it, and you're like the passenger seat. You're like got a seat like this big. It's like not very big. And so I'm on it, and then like you have to lay on the person in front of you because you have to lean with them. And I don't know any of this stuff.
Right.
So he like grabs my arms and put it around. I'm like, okay, I don't even know your name. And so we do that, and it was awful. I have no fear, but that was the most uncomfortable. I mean, the bugs and the wind is hitting you in the face. And
Yeah.
you're like leaning, and he's like, lean left, lean right. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I was going for a joyride in my head. This is not, this is not what I have.
Right.
So he took me back to my car, and I got off, and tried to fix my hair, obviously, and stuff, and he asked if he could kiss me, and I told him no. We just literally met. And he looked at me, and he turned around, went on his bike, and he went, I'm going to marry you, and drove off. And that's literally what he said to me the first day I met him.
That is-
And so I met him on a Saturday, and I didn't, he texted me like, or not text, sorry.
We didn't have texting back then.
Sorry,
Old
it was like
school.
20 years ago.
For those of you that are under the age
paged
of,
me.
you're not
Yeah.
going to know what this is, but they had a pager, right?
Yes, I had a pager.
That's epic.
And so he paged me. But at the time, I worked in a factory, but I also had my own cleaning business. So
So you're already
literally,
hustling.
yeah, I literally worked 10 hours, and I would clean, and then I would sleep for 2 hours and get up and do it all over again. Like I loved working, loved getting money and stuff like that. So I did that. So Monday through Friday, I literally did not even talk to this man.
Yeah.
So the next weekend, he asked me on another date, and I'm like, yeah, okay. And he's like, well, wear a dress. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll wear a dress. He took me to church. And
So sorry if you hear our dog barking in the background. So he took you to church.
He took me to church, and I have to say that I wasn't prepared for it because he went to an old-fashioned King James Bible church, and it was a mega church. There was like 5,000 people. It was a lot of people. But I wore probably the shortest dress I've ever worn in my life because I was supposed to be on a date.
Right, and you went to church.
I went to church. So the whole
awesome.
time
See, you didn't tell this part
I'm
of the story.
grabbing my dress and
Harlot.
trying to make
harlot.
it down
Jezebel.
as far as I can.
And Christians are really nice.
Yes. Yeah.
And not
And they're
judgmental.
everyone's in dresses. I mean, it's old
probably
fashioned.
down to their ankles too.
Oh yeah. And not only that, he sits on the front row. So it's not like I was like hidden in the
we sit in
back
the front
behind a
row.
bunch of pews or nothing
Right.
like that. I'm like, shut up. And it's on camera because it's their video. It's a mega church. So they video the thing. So
And this is 20 years ago.
It's 20 years ago.
That's a big deal for 20 years ago.
It is.
And
So, they're doing the service and everything and stuff like that. And then at the end, they did the altar call. And I had never been to a church that did it.
Did an altar
There.
call. Yeah.
And for me, I'm very black and white. Give me some information. Let me do some facts. I can make a decision in a heartbeat. If that one doesn't work, I got 3 more backup decisions that I can come up with. It's just easy for me to do that. So it wasn't, and I already knew that there was God. But then when they started doing the altar call, and I everyone bow your head, and if you're not saved, raise your hand. And I raised my hand, and then you just start asking questions. Okay, have you ever felt this? And have you ever felt that? And stuff like that. Come to the altar. And I just went up to the altar. I mean, it wasn't like I wasn't embarrassed. And, I'm on a date with somebody that I literally met a week earlier.
Yeah.
Don't know any of these people, but it was not scary for me.
It doesn't matter.
I
When Jesus is calling you,
Yep.
he's calling you.
Exactly.
So
I just went up there, and they showed me in the Bible the verses and everything. I'm like, yeah, okay, I got it. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna say this prayer, and it was very easy for me to do that, and I was saved literally at that time. And then
how the Bible talks about a mustard seed of faith? I don't really know how to explain her faith, but it's not a mustard seed. It's like
it's like a watermelon.
Yeah.
It amazes me because
It's humbling.
It is because it's like through everything she's been through, and the story's not even over yet, but everything she's been through, like everything along the way is just like, you know what? I have faith. I can do this, but she's putting one foot in front of the other is what the thing is, where she's not sitting on her butt. She ain't lazy. And that's, I don't know.
Or
very
playing
inspiring.
the blame game. Everyone loves the blame.
Or poor pitiful me.
Yep,
Poor pitiful.
exactly.
Everyone has a
excuses.
story.
Yes.
Everyone has stuff
That's
they've
going
been
to be on
through.
one of my shirts. If you would like to buy one, stay tuned. Back to Deva.
But so you got saved.
So then I got saved. So then after you get saved, they're like baptism. I'm like, oh, okay. And
that night.
it was literally like 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, come on
In her
back.
mini dress.
in my little mini dress. And they
That's
bring me to the
funny.
back, and I'm like, do you see what I'm wearing? Like, I didn't plan for this. And they're like, oh no, you put this tissue paper gown on. Have all
Very
your clothes
nice.
off, which is very
Well, that's what
weird.
Jesus told us to do.
Oh yeah.
Put a tissue
Wear a
paper.
tissue paper gown that will disintegrate.
Yeah.
As you go into the water now.
Oh
And
my
see
gosh.
through.
But
What
the
t-shirt
thing
contest,
is,
something
yeah,
Class. Diva, a little classy.
And,
Okay, so you put your tissue
so then
gown
I
on.
get saved, I get baptized
Yeah.
and everything, and I go back to Jerry, and I was looking cute before I got in the water. Then all my
that.
hair's wet, and
You're
my
like,
legs are
Tissues.
washed
this is
off.
our date.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is
our first date.
There's no hiding anything now because it just
Yeah.
washed off in the baptism.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was our third date. Well, I guess you could say our second date, first date. I don't know which date. It was the next weekend. But so then a few more weeks go by, and it's Monday through Friday, and I didn't talk to him because I had the 2 jobs. So I literally only saw him on Saturday and Sunday. So probably like the 5th week, and this whole time he's been saying he's going to marry me. And, it was a little stalkerish and kind of creepy in the beginning, but then I started just like feeling in, and I started like really looking in the Bible once I got saved just to get answers, because I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I got saved. What do I do now? Like, give
Yeah.
me some rules. I need something to do so I know I'm doing it right. And then I just started reading that. And then obviously I'm young and looking for a husband and things
And you were
like that.
20 at this time.
I was 20, and then I started kind of sort of researching about husbands, like what they're supposed to be like, because
Yeah.
all the ones I knew were losers.
That's
obviously.
interesting because
So-
people that don't have families like maybe we did, a traditional upbringing and that kind of stuff, you can't expect them to understand things the way that someone that was raised maybe without something or lacking something.
Yeah, like she didn't
because-
have that family aspect
Yeah.
growing up. I mean, she doesn't even know who her
and
mom
like,
or dad
and the
are.
confidence
real.
and the love and the Jesus from the start. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And so I've learned working with people that have come from, rough families. you have to communicate differently.
Yeah, you
and
do.
sometimes
You do.
grace is offered for both sides.
It
very
really
interesting.
is. And the biggest thing is that, I was a good person before I got saved. I didn't cuss. I didn't, do drugs or anything like that. But that wasn't going to get me into heaven.
Right.
Right.
People think, oh, I'm a good person. I deserve to go to heaven. And if you hear my story, you're like, that person deserves to go to heaven. She had a rough life when she was beginning. No, it doesn't work that way. I
doesn't.
I really had to believe that Christ died on the cross and, do that confession and things like that. And that's how you get saved. And so my husband was taking me to church on our dates. So I'd been getting more and more and stuff
And
like
growing in the Lord.
that.
Yeah.
I was. But I had a Bible that was like more like feel-good messages, and I don't even know if it had verses in it or anything. Yeah.
A poem Bible available on
it
our
might have
website.
been. And so then I knew I wanted to get a different Bible because I saw him using a Bible and everyone was using this Bible, and he would go to verse and everyone would be opening the Bible. I'm like, I don't have one. And so
Right.
I knew I was going to get another one. So when I got a new Bible, you always get your name engraved on the front. So I'd got my name, Deva Adet, which is my middle name, is my adopted name too, that they kept.
What
And
is your
then
middle name?
Adet. I don't know what it means. It's Adette.
Adet.
Yeah.
I think that's the name of like a security system.
Maybe. Who knows? Or I was
That's
a
your
debt or
heritage.
something. I don't know. I don't know what it means. But my first and middle name. But then when I got the last name, I put his last name on the Bible.
When you got the Bible.
Moses.
Whoa.
So when we went to church, he saw that I got this brand new Bible, and his last name was in my name. So that was pretty bold for
Yeah.
me to do.
You could have
And-
said, I just wanted to make reference to Moses in the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, did you know that he also had a speech problem and was adopted?
Moses?
Yep.
Really?
Not Moses
He
from
had
the
a speech
Bible,
problem.
your husband.
No, Moses from the Bible.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
he
what I
had,
know
he had a
that.
big speech problem because he didn't want to be the leader, and he
Oh,
didn't want to
I
be
do
his leader.
remember that.
Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I need to
because
dig
he
back-
couldn't speak properly.
Holy
That's right.
moly.
Yep. So he had a big
That's
speech
what I'm
problem.
saying. I mean,
Yeah. So I think that's
Crazy.
kind of cool of Moses.
Yeah.
But so then I got that done. So then the next day we went to my parents' house and we were having dinner and everything. And he just gets up in front of everybody and says, "Deva, will you marry me?" And I didn't tell my parents because they, I didn't tell them that stuff because it was too soon. I literally knew the guy like 10 days. And so then I'm like, yes. And then he leaves. So then my mom, bless her heart, she's like, "Deva, if you're pregnant, honey, you don't have to marry this man. It's okay. We could totally take care of the baby, just me and you." And I was giving this big like lecture and speech and everything. And
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, Mom," I'm like, I'm not pregnant. I'm like, I really feel like he's the one. And I've read the Bible of what a husband's supposed to be. And he's, what it describes. So then he calls me and he said, "Oh, by the way, I've got the keys to the church and my family's going to be there in 30 minutes if you want to get married." So we got married, and we'll probably put this up, but that's my only wedding photo. I had
Wow.
a throwaway camera in my car. I don't even know why it was there. And we just grabbed it, and we were holding up the temporary marriage license
Yeah.
in this photo.
and you were
And
20.
I was 20 years old. And then when we went the next Monday to the, I don't know what you call it.
Like the courthouse,
Courthouse, yeah.
Yeah.
To get like the actual certificate, we had to fill in all the information to get the real one.
Real one, yes. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And so when we were filling it out, it came to like the age part, and
Yeah.
that you don't put 20 years old. You put a date, and he wrote down a date, and I'm looking at him like, because I was born in '82, and I'm thinking like an 80 number, but it was like 67. I'm like, I started like counting back the math. I'm like,
How old are you?
how old are you? And he was 35, and I was 20.
So that you're 15 years apart.
That's
We're 50.
hilarious.
But what's funny is they
years
didn't know
apart.
she was already married.
Yeah.
She was.
I didn't
you
know
were
how old
signing
she
was.
it.
Now,
Yeah.
baby.
She did not know. Now, from the day that you met, how many weeks was it until you got married?
It was 5 weeks. So we met September 14th and got married October 25th. But we only saw each other 10 days. It was on Saturday, Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
So it was only literally 10 days that I talked to him on the phone or saw him in person.
Yeah.
And then it was just, so I make decisions fast. Like I said, just give me some facts, and I'm like,
Right.
okay, we're gonna do this and this and this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't have to stew on it, and I never second guess myself. Now, not all my decisions are correct, but don't worry, I've got 2 or 3 other ones to try out. So
Yeah.
it just
She's got
works out
her
for
backup
me.
plan.
Yes, exactly.
What did you tell me the other day? She goes, "I've made some $20,000 mistakes, but
Yeah.
you know what? But that's part of business.
Yeah,
but
it is. So,
But being led by the Lord, and that's the thing is you've had God in you since day one. But then when you gave your life to Jesus, it's and through your mate, through
Yes.
your husband, which all happens so quickly. It doesn't happen like that for everybody, but
No,
your story
it
is
does
different.
not.
And we're not recommending, hey, go meet someone and get married in six
Yeah.
weeks. It takes a lot of prayer, but I definitely believe this was a God ordained situation
Yeah.
for you. I mean, God like literally laid the steps. And Deva did say after this, I know there's more to your story too, that you guys had a rough year, the first year.
The first year was, we probably fought for 30 years of fighting in the first year, because I was 20, he was 35. We didn't know each other, honestly.
And he's older. He was older, living his life probably,
he,
and living.
He was.
Yeah.
He had lived with people and girlfriend, and he had a whole bunch more life experience than me.
Right.
And I was a brand new Christian, so and he had already had been in it for a little while. So it was very, very hard. And we would fight all the time. And then we would start using the Bible against each other. Oh, your husband, this is what you're supposed to do. Oh, your wife, this is what you're supposed to do. So our pastor at the time told us, okay, before you begin a fight, you need to list all the different things. Money, marriage.
Together. Did you guys sit down together and list everything?
Yeah. And we had picked different topics, and we would write down, okay, this one's marriage, this is what a wife's supposed to be, this is all that is. And he said, have that ready, so if you had a disagreement, you would use that paper, and that's what God said. So obviously you can't argue with him,
Right.
and you're not pointing fingers at each other. And once we started doing that, we never fought again.
Yeah.
It all went away.
What's funny though is that we're such a selfish world.
Yeah.
That,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this day and time, it's like, well, that doesn't feel good to me, so that doesn't have what I think. But guess what? Sometimes the way we feel and the way we think ain't right.
Yeah.
And we do need to go back to the Word of God, and it is so important to do that. So I think that's really, really cool. Now,
It is.
tell us about Jerry. I know this segment might be longer, but guys, like we gotta talk about Jerry, because we've talked a lot, and
Yeah.
this is crazy and amazing. And some of y'all are like, "Oh my gosh, this girl's testimony." But tell us about Jerry. You met him, and then tell us a little bit about his background.
And you have to think, when I met him, he was going to church. He did not miss a service. He didn't cuss, smoke.
He was on
nothing
fire
like that.
for Jesus.
He really was.
Yeah.
And that's the Jerry that I know. But Jerry's life is completely different from when I met him. So Jerry lived in, I guess, poverty, like government home, stuff like that. His dad was very abusive and would beat him and his mom and things like that, and they separated. So then he went to, what do you call, like, government housing? What is it called?
Projects?
The projects. That's it.
Oh, okay.
So he lived in the projects, and so by the time he was about 11 years old, he started doing drugs. Just started
11.
At 11 years old, just pot. It might have been 9, to tell you the truth. I think he did pot when he was 9, and then it just started trying to increase into harder ones. And eventually he was just totally hooked on cocaine, was his favorite drug to do. So by 11 is when I think he started actually selling drugs. That way he could just, get money and be able to sell drugs and stuff
Right.
like that. So he started stealing drugs and things. And when he was about 20, 21, he had sold drugs to a guy, and the guy was wired. So the police had gabbed him, and then they're like, hey, we need a bigger fish. Who's your drug dealer? Let's go after him. And that was Jerry, my husband.
Wow.
So he got on tape, actually threatening the guy to kill him, and things like that. And so he was arrested, and then he was convicted of it, obviously.
So your husband was selling coke.
He
was
was selling
arrested.
when he was
And
20.
again, obviously, you didn't know him at this point.
No, did not know him. And he was 20, so that means I was 5.
Yeah. So,
So, no, I did
which
not
is
know
crazy.
him.
Again, this is how good God is, though. This drug addicted baby
Yeah.
ends up marrying a man who was on drugs, and God
Drug
healed
dealer.
him, and a drug dealer. He went to jail.
Yeah.
And God, and like literally, you guys ended up meeting. So tell us a little more about his story.
So he got a 5-year sentence, and I think he served over 2 years. I think he served like 1/3 of it or something like that. And so he went to jail, kept doing drugs. You can do drugs just as easy
Sure.
in jail as you are on the
Easier,
streets.
probably.
So when he got out, he just went straight back to it. Like, it didn't deter him or like teach him
Right.
a lessons or, nothing like that. So he just did it, even more. He didn't sell it. He just bought it. So now he had to go get different jobs and, have money and sell it. But he was just, couldn't hold it down a job. He'd be here at a job for 3 months, and then he'd get fired or quit or something. And then he'd have this girlfriend he lived with, and then he'd, be doing drugs the whole time and things like that. So he just kept doing and kept doing. Then when he was about, 33, he was living with a girl, and she had some kids, and they were both drug addicts, and they got into a really, really, really big fight. And he just grabbed his clothes and just like packed up, and he's like, I'm going to my mom's house. So he went to his mom's house, and they were fighting on the phone and stuff. And his mom was a Christian woman, so she never said a cuss word, she never drank. She was always a good person. And he was just everything to Jerry. Jerry just loved his mama. And she was in the kitchen reading a magazine, and he just heard a thud, and he went in there, and she was dead. She just had a total heart attack and just died instantly.
And he happened to be there that night.
He was there that night. He was not supposed to be there, but he just showed up, and she literally died in his arms. I mean, he was trying to give her mouth to mouth and everything, and she was she was dead. And so then he, was completely drugged out at the funeral, and he went harder into drugs. So he actually was the worst after she died for about, I guess, 2 years or 3 years. And it was so bad, he couldn't hold a job, and he, had different girlfriends and stuff like that. And he was so hooked on cocaine and just couldn't get off of it. And he actually went, I'm going to try not to cry, but he actually went to her grave to commit suicide. So he had his gun, and he kept putting it in his mouth and to his temple and just crying on her grave and stuff. But then he just started thinking and just blaming God. God, you did this to me. You took the one person away from me. I'm supposed to die from an overdose because I'm the drug addict. She's supposed to live the greatest life ever.
Right.
And she had an abusive husband and a drug addict son and stuff like that. Why did she die and I didn't die? So he went there to kill himself. And then after a while, he just kept, getting mad at God and started cursing God. And then he finally started saying, look, if you can get me off of drugs, which hasn't happened in 23 years of my life, 33, something like that. Let's say 23. 23 years of my life. If you can actually create a miracle and get me off of drugs, I'll follow you the rest of my life. And so it wasn't like a lightning bolt hit him nothing like that. Right. He was really just testing God to see. And so he just said, look, I believe in Christ. I think it's real. I know what this whole Bible thing is. And he did. He got saved by himself on his mother's grave. In the graveyard when he went to go kill himself that day.
Wow.
And so he went back, and it wasn't like instant. That weekend, he didn't go with his friends. The first time he had ever not done drugs in 2 days in a row. And it was rough because, obviously you have withdrawals and stuff like that, but he didn't. And then he would do drugs a little bit just to get his body back track. But then he'd read the Bible, and then he would do a line of cocaine. And then read the Bible. So he was kind of playing the fence for a few months. But after a while, it just started becoming less and less and less and less. But as he was not doing it anymore, he was starting to lose a lot of his friends because obviously they come around him because he's a drug addict. But if he's saying, I don't want to do drugs right now, then they'd be like, I'm going to go to so and so's house. They want to be fun and party. And so his change of friends, which I think is a big thing.
It is huge
to change your environment and your friends, and if you change your life, they'll just leave you, I have to say. And so they just started dropping off of flags, and he wasn't around those people anymore. But so when my husband went to commit suicide, I think it was December 18th of 2001. I met him 9 months later.
So in that time,
because it was raining outside, is when I met him. So in 9 months,
the transformation for his life
that he made with God was that. So it was just literally 9 months that his whole life, he was 35 years old. His whole life had changed. And then he meets me, because obviously he had lots of girlfriends and lots of people he's lived with and everything like that.
Right.
And then to meet me in the very first day, tell me he was going to marry me is just insane. It just blows my mind. And just the fact, like what you said, is that, I was sold to a drug dealer, and I was a good person, but it took a drug dealer to get me saved. You would never think that could ever be possible.
God used him and what he was going through in his testimony and everything to lead you to Christ, which is insane. I can't even imagine when you told him your story, what he thought.
Kind of another little side note that's really, really cool. So how I was born and everything, and so my parents adopted. And I always knew why they adopted. My adopted mom could get pregnant, but 7-8 months in pregnancy, the baby would just start killing her body. And she wasn't going to survive. And so her body wasn't made to carry babies. But she always held that guilt. It was her fault she couldn't have kids. So when me and Jerry got married, I told him, I don't want to get tested. He never had kids. And then the way I was born, and, passed around and stuff like that. I didn't know it was that. I said, I don't want to find out if it's you or me, because that's only giving a card for the devil to use against us. When we get in a fight and I know it was my fault, I'm going to be like, it's my fault he left because I couldn't have kids.
Right.
The devil likes to use those things. So I said, I don't want to do that. But I mean, and in the first year, everyone thought I was pregnant. That's why they thought I got married.
Like, I promise.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, we were fighting and stuff like that. And everyone thought I was pregnant. So my whole family was against us. It was very, very hard the first year. But then once we got turned around, it was really good. So we didn't think we could have kids. So 9 years, it just wasn't happening for us. We didn't get tested, but just no scare, no sign, no nothing. And so for New Year's, we said, okay, we're going to live and make everyone jealous because we're going to go to all these places that parents with kids can't go. And we're going to totally rub it in their face.
Yeah.
So that was our New Year's resolution. And then January 20th is when they had the Roe versus Wade in Washington, D.C.
It's like the right for life.
The right to life. And
right to life
tons of people go there. And they have like a big rally, and you have protesters there too and everything.
Right.
So we wanted to go there because I'm really against abortion. Because if anyone's going to have abortion, it's going to be a drug addict, prostitute who's going to sell her baby, and her baby's going to be born addicted with health problems. That person needs to have an abortion because that kid has no chance. But that's me.
Right.
So I'm really against abortion in that way. And so I really wanted to go. So we were going to go. And, of course, we're the cute couple and stuff. So we decided we're going to rent a yurt, which is like a tent. It's kind of a new thing. And it was the coldest day in history in Washington, D.C. that day. And but the funny thing is that we went to fight for babies. And we couldn't adopt because of my husband's criminal record. So if you have a criminal record, you can't adopt.
Gotcha.
And so I always wanted to adopt, but because of that, we couldn't. So that wasn't an option.
And you didn't think
either.
at this time you couldn't have babies. You didn't think.
Yeah, and we actually tried 7 agencies and got turned down by 7 agencies, adoption agencies. And so we had already tried that route and stuff. And but during that time, fighting for babies is when I got pregnant.
Yeah. In the yurt.
In the yurt.
Or
Trying
yurt.
to stay warm.
Is it a yurt?
That's funny.
So they made a baby at a right to life meeting when they didn't think that they could even have babies.
So that photo is the day I got pregnant.
I am pro-life generation, and she was procreating.
Yep. Yes. He got one past the goalie. Yes.
Good job, Jerry.
Yeah. And
Wow, that is awesome.
Eden was born. So, so her middle name is Pelea, and it means the Lord's surprise. And so that's just really cool. So it's really neat. I mean, it seems like stages in my life have been put together, and it's almost like they were planned years before. I mean, the fact that I would meet Jerry because it was raining outside, and just he was a drug dealer, and just it's just so amazing how really it all connects.
Your life is unbelievably fascinating and incredibly encouraging, and by sharing your story, you are reaching people that have been addicted to drugs since birth, or that have gone through abuse and abandonment and all this stuff. In all my years, I've never quite heard anything like this.
I mean,
And
I've heard a
worked
lot of
with
testimonies.
A lot of folks. And I watch documentaries and stuff, but this is pretty... but the thing that I love is you said half my life was this, and then half my life was that. And you didn't say half was awful and half was good. You just said half my life was this, half my life was that. And, the fact that you're like, yeah, no excuse, I'll just have to keep going. Oh, if I try and mess up, okay, let's just keep going. And, such an inspiration, and to have found Jesus on your journey is unreal.
That's what I'm saying.
Because she should be dead or what,
or
a
aborted.
prostitute, or whatever. And so, your relationship with Christ is so inspiring, and
I want to share one thing before
how cool this is.
And sorry, I wasn't trying to be rude while I was getting on my phone, but as soon as you were talking, it just the verse came into my head, and I had to Google it because I don't know it by heart because I'm not a perfect Christian. I don't know all the Bible verses by heart, but it came into my head, and I knew it was whatever. Psalm 139:13 says, "For you created my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in a secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be." And I just think that's awesome because before we were ever created, knit in our mother's womb, before Deva was, JP, you, me, anybody, y'all watching today, the Lord already has ordained the steps of your life. Now, look, a lot of the crap that we go through in life is because of our own sinful, selfish choices. And so there's a lot of things that we have to deal with that God
in
probably...
the Garden of Eden, because we're not living in the world that God wanted us to live in.
Oh, no, we're not. I mean, that's the thing. Right. And now that because there is sin in the world and he does give us, a choice to live our lives, a lot of the things that, the hardships we go through, a lot of them are a lot of times our own fault. We've discussed this in other shows because it's our own choices. But a lot of times things happen to you that aren't your fault.
Yeah.
Look at all the things. I mean, she was really trying to be a good person and even through she was born the way that she was born, and she has these, things she has to take medication to even feel hungry. I mean, gosh, some of us would love that, wouldn't we? She has to wear these, glasses, and she's, her speech and all the things that we all have battled, that maybe aren't something that we have chose, things in life. But guess what? If we choose to keep our faith in Jesus Christ and to stand firm on the word of God, let me just tell you what God can do to your life. He can turn your mess into a testimony. What do they say? They turn your what is the thing? You turn your mess into a message. I've heard that before, and it's so
Let's
true.
turn your test into a testimony.
But we've all been just, everyone has dealt with different things in our lives. Some our fault, some not.
Yeah.
But choose to have joy. Choose Jesus today, because let me tell you, just like Deva's doing, she's taking this opportunity to tell her testimony, and she's chosen to walk in faith and to give and to live her life for Christ. That her testimony could be the very thing that saves somebody else.
Oh, it is.
And it is 100%. And just like Christy's Layman's when she was on our show a few weeks ago about, and if you haven't seen that, about how her mother was murdered. Her mother was murdered, and she has lived her whole life with this, guys. The thing is we all have a testimony. I've shared a little bit about Waylon and our marriage. JP has talked about his addictions. And there's more to come. There's more to come, and we're just so thankful that you guys have joined us today. Thank you, Deva Moses. What an amazing testimony.
And you have to have my husband on.
Yes, we definitely should have Jerry on.
And he is a talker. So just be ready.
Yes, I mean, so we would love to do that. Maybe we'll have Jerry on soon.
Can you say the name of our show? Listen.
Nope, I can't.
The
Wheel.
This is real.
This is Wheel. The Wascally Wabbits. One's really, really fast.
That is so cute. ASMR, if you'd like to order Deva's storybook, she will be reading my cookbook aloud Tuesdays at the factory.
It's going to take me like 6 months probably to read it. But yeah.